right, good morning. I think we'll just jump right into it again. Let's see. We have this thing we're working on where we want to list out all our backlog items, and we even have our own backlog item now. And underneath here, we actually have the data we need to render out a weekday weekday picker for each profile. So we need to do that. So on this, oh yeah, okay, cool. So we have our backlog item, but we also need our, what did we call it? Days? Do I remember this correctly now? Or were we working on something? Yeah, we were working on something. Yeah, we wanted to fix this first. So get first date of previous week. Now we're just subtracting by 7 days, but that's not what we want to do. We want to actually go as far back as the first day of the week, which would be, so for example, today it's Wednesday, I think. So we don't want to go to the last Wednesday. We want to go to Monday of last week because that's the first day of the week. So the question is, how do we do that? I guess date functions has something smart we can use. Or we kind of have to calculate. Yeah, how are we going to do that? Date functions. Getting started. Closest to. What are we going to use there? I'm actually very unsure how we're going to calculate this. It seems like a simple thing to do, but it's not that simple. Can we like set? Can we like not set date, but like set day? Yeah, weekday. Oh, is Sunday, is. Yeah. Set the day of the week to the given date. So for example, I have to look at examples. So if we so we want to set. Okay, so we can go, we can create a date 7 days back, and then we'll set the day. I think that will work. So we go 7 days back, and then we say set day. And currently we're going to hard code this into. Oh, we only use set day. Ah, cool. I think that will give us what we want. So if it's Wednesday, we go back to Wednesday, and then in that week, we are going to set the day. And within that, does it take into account? Oh yeah, week starts on. Okay, I don't understand documentation here, but I think this, we'll just have to test it. Cool. Okay, so now we, yeah, we were creating this array. Yeah, that was it. So we are getting the days of the previous week, and then we want to get days of current week. And we also want to get days of next week. Next week. Okay, so this is get first day of previous week, get first day of current week, get first date of next week. I think we need that. So we don't want to subtract here. We basically just want to take the current day and then do that. And then instead of sub days, we're going to add days. 7. And then move to the first day of that week. Okay, I think this is right. Get days. And there we go. So I think we're producing an array now. So let's see. We are going to grab previous week. And then we'll just use get days of previous week. And then we're going to have current week. Oh, but this is a backlog item. This is a tricky one. We actually have to pass this in. This sucks. Because the backlog item doesn't know if we're working on the current week or the next week. So these dates are different. So the question is, how do we pass these into this component? And then this also affects rendering. So if we were to just grab this and pass it directly into each backlog item, every backlog item would render again whenever we... Well, if the edit current week were to render again for some reason, it will also cause every backlog item to render again, because we're grabbing like a new array every time this runs, and this runs on every render. So then, but we could memorize it, of course, and I guess we kind of have to do that. But this is the shitty thing about React. You have to do all this memoization and think about this rendering all the time. I wish it wasn't so. For some reason, like Vue also, well, for some reason, I think I know the reason. Like Vue, you don't think about this stuff. You don't think about render optimization at all. And the main reason is that they observe state. So they don't have any memoization at all because they don't need it. They just observe changes to values directly, just like Overmind does. And that means that you get like optimized rendering out of the box. But with React, you have immutability. You depend on value comparison. So you need all these additional tools to ensure that you get the performance you need. Yes. So what we could do here instead, we could like give a flag which states like, is it current week or is it next week? Because that would be like the same value. It would be like true or false or a string or something. And then we will grab the dates based on that. We could do that. That would be simpler in terms of rendering. We could also have like a wrapping component. So you would have like, I don't know, week backlog item, and then that would take care of grabbing this stuff, and then that will be the memoizing component. So that we still only pass an ID from the list. but that's sucky as well. I don't know. I guess our only choice is to memorize. Yeah. We get a raise here, right? So we have yeah, so what's the term here? I guess it's previous week. Well, previous week might be the current week. So when you plan the next week, previous week is the current week. But this component doesn't care about that. It cares about like what's the current week we're working on and what's the previous week for reference. So I guess we can call it previous week dates, next week dates, or current week dates, which is also string array. So we get that here. But then, why isn't this complaining? There it's complaining. We have to grab this stuff as memoized data. And then this is also the shitty thing. It's like I only want to grab this data once, which means that I have to like do this kind of thing. I have to say react use memo and then do this thing and this thing. Because I only want to grab it once. Oh, oops. What happened here? Oh, that's weird. Why is it complaining? Oh, use memo, does it take a callback? Yeah. Yes, I have to do this thing, which is supposed to be like, I could use ref as well, but that's also weird. Yeah, anyways. Let's just do this. Let's just do this. Or maybe, maybe we could use overmind for this. Could we do that? The question is, what if you use the app from one day to the other? So for example, we could just shove these things into overmind and then we didn't have to think about this. Because then that array would always be the same. But then the question is like, what do we do if you use the app from one day to the other? Then we have to update these arrays. But I think the app needs to do multiple things if you happen to have it open from one day to the other. Like we need to have, like when you open the app, we have to check how, when do we change day? And then we set like a timeout for that. And then some kind of action runs related to the time changing. And that would kind of update these things related to basically switching the day. It would set up the new stream so that they stream from the new day and everything. Yeah, okay, so we're not going to use React for this. We are going to use overmind for this, because then it's like the array never changes. That's the point. But with React, they always change unless you go in and do this hook stuff, which annoys me. Because then what we rather do is that we say, well, let's add the state first. So we have our base state. What was it called? Previous weekdays, which is a string. And then we have current weekdays And then we have next weekdays. And we're just going to add these. Wow, the typing is really slow here now. I wonder why that is. Previous weekdays, and we use the utilities for this. Get days. Previous week. Current weekdays. Get days of current week. Next weekdays. Get days of next week. Let's see, could you add yourself? Oh, there's something weird happening here. I think we found an issue. Oh no, sorry. Why is this complaining? Previous weekdays, isn't that right? Previous, oh. Weekdays, huh? What the fudge? May only specify no, and previous weekdays does not exist. But it does. What the hell? Oh, backlog items, sorry. That's, there we go. Sorry about that. Okay, so now, let's see. We should have our weekdays. Oh, we haven't been able to run it yet. Let's see. There we go. So we have previous weekdays. Is this right? Like this is, yeah, this looks right. So this is up to the 6th, which is Sunday. Yeah, that's right. And then we have current weekdays, which is from the 7th, which is right. This is cool. And then we have next weekdays. Okay, nice. So what we can do now is, now we can say here, what was the current weekdays will in this case be state current weekdays. And as I said, this array never changes unless we change the day, and then it should re-render. So that's good. And then previous week dates is now previous. And when we now render our planning the next week, when we are planning the next week, we are going to pass in current weekdays will be next, and then previous weekdays will be current. That's the only difference, really. So that's cool. Okay, so now we have the previous weekdays and the current weekdays. And then we need to grab the days of... actually, I don't remember why we need these. We might not need them at all. I have a feeling. It's not very clear to me what we're going to do here. But I know that we want the days at least. So we want the days. What was that structure? That was like, yeah, by using the backlog item.id. Now this might not be there. So we have to check that. Maybe we can do like or empty. And then we have the profile there. So we are going to iterate, let's call it days by profile. Profile UID. So we're going to iterate that. And we are going to create like whatever. Okay, let's just do like a div for now. And this will give us the UID. So let's insert that UID. That can be used as a key as well. Yeah, so let's just insert another div there. We're divving it up. Okay, so now we have the UID, and then we want the actual weekday picker. Weekday picker, I don't remember any of the arguments here. Active weekdays. On change, let's look at it. Yes, weekday mapping. Yeah, and that's set up by us for now. So we basically only need to pass in. Oh, we don't have a sense of. We don't have a sense of. Because when we look at these weekdays, we don't only show the active ones, we also indicate if that was active on the previous week, and we don't have a sense of that now. Yeah, but we can look at that after we get this thing in. So what we need to do now, we need to pass in the active weekdays. And the way we do that is basically we need to go through yeah, so this is why we need the current weekdays, because we have to figure out, are any of these current weekdays inside this profile? So basically what we can do is say active. Yeah, and that's also a question, because this is index based. This isn't based on the actual date. Active weekdays. Yeah, it's like a number. But I think we can get that number. So active weekdays would be looking at the keys of the profile, and we would filter them so that we only get days that are in actual or date. Current week date includes date. So now we only get dates that are actually in active weekdays. Why is this undefined? Oh, sorry, variant. Yeah. This is inside the weekday picker. So now we get the actual dates, but then we need to map that to the actual index. And I guess there's a way to do that. Get the day. Yeah, it's just get day. So we can say get day. We can even do this fancy thing. Get day. Oh, the thing is, like, the date we have now is like, yeah, it's not a date, and it requires a date. Yeah, we have to convert. Get day of new date. But how do we create? So we have this shortened version of the date, which is like, well, it's this. But how would we convert that into date? Like, is there like some date from? So I don't want to format the date. I want to kind of create a date based on parse the date. Oh, that's interesting. I think we can use that. So we can say like, oh, this is interesting. But this is getting complicated. So parse, this is also coming from date functions. We're going to parse the date. And we're going to say this is, what was the format we used? DD, was that the thing we used? Let's see, utils. Yeah, that's the format we're using. And then that goes into new date, and then we get the day. This is crazy. Okay, so let's just pass in this active so we can get this rendered. Do you want something else? Oh, on change. Okay, so something's happening here. We are getting the weekday picker, but it doesn't seem to have activated any days. And should it have done that? Let's take a look at the backlog. So, oh, sorry, days. So it should be active on the 9th. Oh, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so it should be active. Let's look at this array we're getting here. Maybe we're getting it as a string or something. I don't know. Oh, we don't get it at all. Okay, so this didn't actually work. Okay, let's just pass in an empty array here, and then we're going to log this step by step. Okay, so we're getting 0, 1. What? Oh, what is this? Oh, sorry, it's an array. Yeah. Okay, so we're not getting. So this is 2020 09 08. And we are now looking at, well, current weekdays is, what did we pass in here? Edit current week. So current weekdays is current weekdays. Yes, of course. So current weekdays 2020 09 08. Yeah, so it should be there. Because we are looking at, for example, this one, 2020 09 08. Current weekdays includes date. Oh, we're looking at the keys. No. Yeah, we're looking at the keys, sorry. So this is like, sorry, this shouldn't be like object keys. This should just be filter. Dot filter, because it's an array. There we go. There we have them. And then we add the last thing. There we go. Nice. Yes, and then we pass active weekdays in there. And there we go. We have them. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. What should we do now? What should we do now? Yes. Yeah, I think we should maybe stop there. Because we got through this. I'm not like super happy about this thing. It's complicated. So we should probably just move that. Maybe we can finish it off with that. Get active weekdays. So we'll just create our own little get active weekdays. weekdays. And that, so we want to pass in this thing and then current week dates, which means this will be the dates and this will be the current week dates. Both of them are string. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Cool. Okay, but that's nice. So I guess our next session could then be to either clean this up a little bit. We need to introduce an on-change here. And we need to introduce to the weekday picker to indicate like previously selected days, like for the last week, so that you see, oh, this thing, I did that on a Thursday last week. Maybe I want to do it on a Thursday this week as well. Cool, but this is, yeah, I'm really happy we moved that state into Overmind. That made it a lot easier to deal with. Also, when we later will have to deal with the app being open from one day to the other. So that's going to work out just nicely, I think. Cool, but I guess that's it for now. Thanks for following along, and then we'll look more into this tomorrow. Bye for now.